So usually a compromise trap involves we want to get away from something, right? I don't want to be put back as a clerk because my employee made an error. I got to push harder or avoid this bad thing, right? How do you get out? The counterintuitive, right? So it involves I'm stuck. It involves two things. And this is what I call the compromise trap, is you're stuck as long as you assume all those misconceptions, that you have to thrive by getting to the top, all those things. And you free yourself by broadening your perspective to see, do I really want that bait? And is it worth it if it's going to cost me these other things? Well, how do we remember that when we're in the midst of survival mode? Because you know how it gets when you're pushed to play the game, right? You know, people describe you're in survival mode, it's kill or be killed, life or death consequences for little things at work. Did I get as big a promotion or a raise as the next person? You get in this frenzy and you get narrow view, right? How do we remember that there's something bigger at stake, that the price could be too high, we have other options, something else might be what we really want? How do we remember? Time out, time. Reflection, Kevin mentioned the Buddhist. A lot of it is other people. A lot of it is someone else saying, is this really what you're up to? Even the 10 Commandments is being connected to society and saying, there's bigger stuff here. People described me feeling like they had no choice because something was right in front of their face, that the difficult choices were right there, and they didn't see the bigger picture. They didn't see how they influenced each other. And I'll give you an example of something that could have been the BP disaster and wasn't. A manufacturing manager in a heavy industry field, a chemical plant, had a new manager come in, and one day he said, you know, there's some safety procedures that we're not following, and you need to know about these. That night, he looked, and the procedures had been deleted. That's one way to stop being out of compliance. Just to eliminate the information. But he had a printout. He knew it was there. So he called the manager, and he said, did you do this? And the manager said, no, no, no. What are you talking about? I would never do that. And he called his wife, and he said, oh, I'm going to get this guy. I'm mad. And she said, wait a few hours. 9:30 that night, he got a phone call. The guy was on the phone. This is a big, we're talking Texas tough guy manufacturing plant. He's crying on the phone. He said, I was just trying to read a bedtime story to my daughter, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it knowing I had lied to you and I had deleted that procedure. I don't know what we do now, but this is not the kind of person I want to be. And between them, they came clean, put the procedures back in, and really started addressing how are we going to live up to these. And that team has actually got a new commitment now to knowing how easy it is to get off kilter. This can happen for the positive as well, to the conscious business stuff. I know one group was doing a green product, but they never quite tackled the difficult part, right? And you'll notice these are followers. These are not bosses. One team member said, hey, those are really great specs we had for making this green. How about we do that for real? Right? Didn't antagonize it. Just, come on, this was good. Let's do it. So this can make it an upward spiral. This can be, it's literally catching. There are other studies that show when we watch someone do a good deed, it actually makes us want to. So this is the upward spiral. And it's about how we interact with each other wherever we're situated, with whatever power we have as followers, peers, bosses, whatever. So my question to you now as we open it up, and I'd love to hear your questions and comments and stories as we do this, is how would we go about addressing the breakdown in integrity that we've had recently, and truthfully has been going on for some time, if we really face the fact that we can all go both ways. We can all be tipped into playing the game, and we can all be moved over to redefining the game, and it's other people probably, as well as practices, that help us move. How would we regulate differently if that were the case? How would we educate leaders? How would we lead, knowing somebody else might have the information we need to hear that would create some cognitive dissonance but might save us some pretty big consequences, right? How would we follow differently, knowing that if a leader compromised, maybe they weren't aware of it? So I'd be interested to hear any of your comments on that, as well as any other questions that you have.